Nuclear bomb versus baby. We all know the memes. But who would win? Technically, the baby could just score an easy win by being on the other side of the Earth. But for the sake of the experiment, let's just say the baby has to be directly on top of the nuclear bomb. With a 15 kiloton fusion bomb and an average 5 kilogram baby, the baby is dead immediately. So the winner is obvious, the nuclear bomb wins. Or does it? If we had a theoretically infinite amount of babies, how many babies would it take to actually win the fight against the nuclear bomb? Our 15 kiloton nuclear bomb would be exploding with about 6.3 times 10 to the power 13 joules. This is like dropping a baby from a skyscraper 15 billion times in a row. So for at least one baby to survive, we would have to stack enough babies on top of the nuclear bomb to basically nullify the blast. To effectively nullify the blast with babies, we must apply an external pressure of about 3250 gigapascals. The entire Earth's atmospheric pressure is about 100,000 pascals, and we need about 300,000 times that. So first we have to calculate the density of a baby, and believe it or not, you can't just Google the density of a baby. But since babies are basically just jelly sacks, we can easily just swap these out for the same density as gelatin, which gives us about 1050 kilograms per square meter. And we all know the gravitational pull of Earth, so we only need to figure out how quote-unquote deep the pile of babies has to be. And after a bunch of boring calculations, we come to about 3,000 kilometers of baby, which is roughly the radius of the moon. So at this point we basically just created a planet made entirely out of baby material. How many babies exactly? Using the mass of the babies we calculated beforehand, we are dealing with about 1 times 10 to the power of 23 kilograms of baby. And with each baby weighing about 5 kilograms, we are dealing with a total of 2 times 10 to the power of 22 babies, which is 26 trillion babies. That is more babies than there are grains of sand on the entirety of Earth. And just like that, we have another moon orbiting the Earth. Again, made out of completely baby material. So now that we have created a giant meatball, let's detonate the nuclear bomb. Babies vaporize at around 500 Celsius. The nuclear fireball, on the other hand, is about 10 million Celsius, so the first 1,000 kilometers of babies is instantly transformed into plasma, and the pressure wave traveling at thousands of meters per second would probably vaporize most of the babies. But let's be honest, we are absolutely willing to sacrifice a couple of billions of babies for at least one to win. And it did. Somewhere in the outskirts of the baby planet, there is one baby which manages to survive the nuclear explosion, until it eventually dies because we're in space. But for the sake of the experiment, that's good enough. And with that, the baby has finally won against the nuclear bomb. All we need to do is sacrifice 26 trillion babies. Some smart viewers have realized that there are nuclear bombs far bigger than 15 kilotons. So let's reuse what we learned. We already saw what a 15 kiloton bomb can do. But what about a 50 kiloton bomb? A 50 kiloton bomb would take about 7.3 times 10 to the power of 22 babies. Our baby planet is now 9,000 kilometers big, or around 2 times as big as Mercury. At this point, the baby planet would even rival Earth. Things get even crazier if we go to 500 kiloton bombs. This would require about 7.3 times 10 to the power of 24 babies. Now our diameter is at around 19 kilometers. This is not only bigger than Earth, this is almost as big as Earth and Mars combined. The Tsar Bomba, with around 50 megatons. This would require 7.3 times 10 to the power of 25 babies. We just went from 19 kilometers to 90 kilometers. This is a giant planet made out of purely baby material, and this is Uranus. There are more babies in our baby planet than there are stars in the entire observable universe. Was it worth sacrificing all of these babies? Yes, and as a very wise man once said,
babies are just kind of like almost have souls, but not yet. So if a baby dies, it's like, well.
What?
Yeah. Or if you have too many kids, you can just kill them because they're just like animals.
What the fuck are you talking